So avoidant is a little weird. If you're avoidant, you probably don't even care about watching this video. If someone sent you this video, they're probably trying to get you to become aware of something inside yourself. Maybe you're trying to figure out if your partner is a narcissist or something like that. Maybe you're trying to understand if it's you. Well, it's not. If your partner is avoidant, they don't really respond to emotions that well. Really good example of avoidant characters in fiction is Yoda, Thanos, really distant characters, Uguay. You can be avoidant and good, and avoidant and evil. I feel like avoidant characters are so detached from emotion. It's kind of like the idea with Thanos and with Yoda. The Jedi Order is so spiritual that they don't allow relationships or any kind of like romantic attachments. And Thanos, he doesn't see the inherent beauty or the intrinsic value in living creatures. Avoidant people, they shut down the emotional part and they kind of see life in an extremely logical way. They don't really use emotional information that much to make decisions. They're very logical. And it's not even a thing that they're just dismissive of you. The dismissive avoidant attachment style is dismissive of themselves. They're dismissive of emotions in general. They feel that emotions are a hindrance, something to get over. They see emotions in other people as an annoying thing as much as they see their own emotions as an annoying thing. So no, it's not just you. The avoidant person feels that way about everything and everyone. And it's not really the same as introversion, though there is some overlap. An introverted person just needs to be alone to recharge their energy. They're not necessarily pathologically guarded of their emotions. They need to recharge their energy by being alone. Elsa is a really good example. The Ice Queen, an avoidant character, is Batman is a really good example too. The idea of having like an alter ego. You have an avoidant has the them that they present to others, their facade, and their inner world is even cut off from themselves. They kind of look at everything as, goals, points, things to get to. Emotions are things to avoid and things that make it more difficult for them to accomplish their goals. And in that way, they feel, they're very self-reliant. They're very put together. They don't really like to help people because they see, they're so self-reliant. They don't expect other people to need help. They see needing help as weakness. So when someone else needs help, and and again, I'll keep reiterating that they feel this way about themselves. This isn't just a outside world feeling. The avoidant feels this way about emotion in general. Like I said with the example of Yoda sees emotions in a strictly negative way. Having feelings leads to needing things leads to you. I don't remember the exact lines for some reason. Killed me. I am a Star Wars fan, but I guess I haven't said that line in so long. But it leads to the dark side, having emotions in general. And you see from Anakin, that's kind of what happens. His emotions, his passion, his pride, his arrogance, all these emotions do inevitably lead to his downfall. The fictional characters aren't like who you should base your personality on because they're overblown caricatures, and you'll hear this a lot, but like every fictional character is basically mentally ill. Superman has a secure attachment style, but he's also like characteristically too secure. Like if I'm falling to my death and my girlfriend is also falling to her death, I'm not really worried about the school bus. And I don't think a securely attached person, they would understand like, well, I'm going to save my girlfriend and I'm going to try to save the school bus, but like, I can't save everybody. Superman be like, and that's kind of like what I'm saying. Like that's not like the ideal for a real human being to be that reliant. And that's kind of like that. I feel like avoidants have an idealized sense of what a person is supposed to be. A person is supposed to be like so self-reliant and perfect and put together because that's like the idea of themselves they've built in their own psyche. If you have found this to be helpful, really share this with one of your avoidant friends or your avoidant partner. I'm launching this whole program, like coaching program and YouTube page. I'm going to be launching some courses on that. I'm still organizing all that. This is my debut of Chrysalis. If you want to be part of the information I'm rolling out, you can go to the link in the description and sign up for my newsletter. You get my free PDF that I've created, which is your pocket guide to attachment theory that you can refer to on the go. I made it really pretty. It's my free offering. It's like part of my promo package with the Equinox. So if you appreciated this content, like and subscribe and share it to someone you think will need it. So the avoidant, since they're cut off from their own emotions in a very pragmatic way, they see life in a very practical way, they expect other people to do the same thing. And the way they do that is they basically project how they're supposed to be on to other people. And whenever people put out boundaries, I think of it as like the grandpa paradox, or it's not really a paradox, but when you say you're tired of like working out in the field, or you're tired, when I went to school, I had to walk back and forth to school both uphill both ways. I couldn't complain to my dad. And because of that, I feel like avoidance is very, very prominent in men. Avoidant people do not like to take responsibility for their feelings, and they especially don't want to take responsibility for other people's feelings. So if there's ever some way that they have upset you, or even a way that they have perceived that they have upset you, they usually jump to the defensive mode. For example, recently I was talking to this person. I was actually, ending the relationship because of this avoidance kind of situation. And I was just like, hey, I'm just letting I'm deciding I'm gonna, not share this energy with you anymore. I knew that because the last few times I said anything to them, they immediately reacted like, I'm busy. And I was just, at this point, I have understood that this person is avoidant. So I'm like, all right, I'm just letting you know that I'm making the decision consciously to stop doing this energy exchange with you. And it has nothing to do with the timeliness of your responses. Though I guess, if you're never going to respond, I don't think we should be in a relationship, obviously. So I guess that's partially to do with it. But it wasn't that I was like messaging the person because they weren't responding. It was me making a decision, drawing a line in the sand, and their immediate response was, I've been too busy to respond. And I was like, I literally, in my response, put that it had nothing to do with the timeliness of your response, but they still jumped to the defensive thing, like, well, I'm busy, it's not my fault. Or, the feeling of like I was rushing them, which I was not. I actually ended that relationship. I see this thing, what I'm about to speak, this will be a whole its own video about invisible boundaries, but avoidant people don't like to state their boundaries. Insecure people have trouble with boundaries. I would say boundaries is the number one thing you're learning if you're healing your attachment style. But the way the avoidant person deals with boundaries, kind of like I said, they project how everyone else feels onto everyone. So they expect everyone has that same standard, but they don't. And so the avoidant, they clash into other people when anyone expresses emotions at all, like to any extent. And I guess it varies obviously, but any level of emotion, they're immediately shutting down, and they expect you to be immediately shutting down, and that you're overreacting anytime you have any kind of emotion about anything. And they automatically jump to the defensive facade that they've created to protect their self-image. It is very difficult to bring up something to them that upsets you ever, no matter how delicately you slice it. It's going to be a fight. And so it's really difficult to, any of the insecure attachment styles are very difficult to be in a relationship with when it comes to avoidance versus anxious, avoidance is like the complete lack of intimacy. So it's very, very difficult to be in a relationship with those people, especially if you lean anxious to any degree and need reassurance from your partner at all. The avoidant person, like I said, does not want to take responsibility for your feelings. So if you let them know that you want to be reassured, the avoidant person is probably going to withdraw over, in response to that. It's very hard to, if you are avoidant, what I suggest is to practice that vulnerability. And it's very difficult because attachment styles obviously form for a very a good reason. You develop your attachment style to protect you from danger. So you have developed this avoidance for a reason. Perhaps someone, obviously it starts at childhood, but throughout your life, people have probably shown that they're untrustworthy, or that they're too emotional or too irrational or unstable or unpredictable. And you have found that you are the stable, level-headed, predictable person in every situation. And that's not a bad thing. But when it comes to relationships, it's like that is the place where you're supposed to be able to let your guard down. Just practicing intimacy, even with yourself, just acknowledging your emotion. Like whenever an emotion comes up, instead of immediately pushing it down or shutting it off, try to actually take a moment to feel the emotion in your body, name the emotion and sit with it. Try to get comfortable with your emotions over time, just microdose heavy emotions instead of shoving them down. And then over time, maybe start to maybe even write them down, or maybe express them to someone else. Just slowly, practice small steps of intimacy to where it feels safer to your nervous system. And that's, you can't just turn avoidance off. None of these you can just turn off. But avoidance is really hard because you have shut your emotions out from yourself. So you have to pause and take some time whenever emotions come up, instead of letting your automatic reaction take over. Look at that emotion. See what that emotion is trying to tell you. Try to understand that, that there is value in emotion, and it's part of life, and you can't just get rid of it. Anyway, this has been my first video, my index video on avoidance. If you watch the next video, you are watching these in order. I'm not sure if anxious will be, I don't think there's an order, whatever the playlist is going to do, but watch one of the next videos. And if you haven't watched the first video on attachment theory, I suggest you shape up on that one first if you've never heard of attachment theory. Anyway, this has been Chrysalis Alexia Reigns. Please like and subscribe. Like I said, if this has served you, and if you know someone that this could help, send them this video. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Click one of these. Do I have 4 cards? How many cards are on this screen? Can you tell me?